Let's talk grief. But before that, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Ghazala at the Heart and Soul Cafe. If you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. And if you're here for the first time, you're very, very welcome. So grief. Grief is the natural response to the loss or the end of something. So it's loss of life or something coming to an end. That might be a job, that might be, becoming retired, that might be coming to the end of a marriage. What else could it be? Well, there's lots of things. So anything coming to an end might lead to a person feeling the symptoms of grief. So it's a natural response. But the extent of our symptoms really depend on us and what it means for that individual person. Because coming to the end of let's say, a job, becoming retired, for one person might be, that's absolutely fantastic. It's given up all, it means that, you've got all this time and all these things that you wanted to do that you couldn't really do, like travel the world as much as you wanted to, or you might have a hobby, I don't know, gardening or building something or in the garage perhaps. So things that you felt that you didn't have time to do, you've now got all this time to do it. On the other hand, it could be that you've come to the end of your job, you're working, you come to the end of your working life, your retirement, you come to your retirement, and you've not really given it much thought or put things into place, and it could actually hit you quite hard in that, you've been, let's say, the main breadwinner of the family. So it could be that you then might start and feel that, well, what's my meaning and purpose now? What do I do? All I've known is my work. I've worked for years and years and years, and now it's gone. It could mean that because of the routine your job gave you, so you had a routine, a structure to your day, to your week, to your month, that's suddenly gone. And you're finding it difficult to keep any kind of routine in your day without your job. So that's another additional thing. That's almost like a secondary grief. It could be at the end of a marriage, because you may feel that it could be the end of something or the end of a marriage and the symptoms that gives you of grief. Also, it could be, separational anxiety from that person also, for one of the, maybe for both people who were in that marriage, perhaps. And then it can be the loss of someone. And all the symptoms of grief that brings. Initially, it could be shock, it could be denial, it could be, some talk about the stages of grief, it could be depression, bargaining, when you're thinking, well, perhaps if I hadn't have done this, perhaps I could have done that, perhaps I could have, there were sort of telltale signs that this was going to happen, and perhaps I could have stopped the person from going where they went, where this terrible accident occurred, etc., etc., etc. So it could be all that you go through, feeling guilt on top of that, and then depression. And then another aspect, another stage of grief is acceptance. And acceptance isn't just necessarily accepting what's happened is real and it's forever, and this is the reality now forever. That person is not going to come back. It's also the acceptance of yourself as well. Where has this left you? Where are you now? If I talk about my own experiences, I changed as a person. I was no longer the same person as I was, prior to losing my son. I changed. The whole world changed. My whole outlook on the world changed. My whole trajectory in life changed. So many aspects of myself and my world and my life changed. And that was massive, massive. The things that I thought were important in my life were no longer, didn't seem trivial. And the things that maybe I thought were trivial or less important were now suddenly very important. So it was almost as if turning everything inside out and upside down. So grief is so many things to so many of us, and it's so different. Our experiences are so, so different. When we talk about going on our journey, it really is, although I don't really like that term, but it does explain that it is your own personal journey. It might be your own personal journey because what you're experiencing is unique to you. Your loss is unique to you. But at the same time, you don't have to travel that journey alone. There is other people that are experiencing similar things. So they may be on a similar journey to yours. Not the same journey, but on a similar one. And that is really where you might find that you can connect with others, or other people can sort of, resonate with your story, or you can resonate with their story or their life, perhaps in some way. And that is all about relating to others. Relating and connecting is really what's important. So let's talk grief. Yes, let's acknowledge everything that we're experiencing and have others validate what we are experiencing, because that's important for us to process what we are feeling, the emotions, what we're feeling. And, those stages, 5 stages of grief are not linear. We know that, you can bounce backwards and forwards. It's not, you get to acceptance and that's it. You just step off the 5 stages of grief, isn't that? Or 7 stages of grief, however you want to look at it. You can be bouncing back from, from each stage. And there's no time thing on any part of those stages of grief. It is your own unique life course, if you like, instead of using the word journey. Because for most of us, when we're grieving, it's not for a particular time. It's probably for the rest of our lives. I know it is for me. I'm going to be grieving for the rest of my life. That does not mean to say the grief is going to be completely the same or with the same intensity for the rest of my life. It's going to be going up and down like this, again, across that. There's 5 stages of grief, because it's always going to come back and move on and come back and move on and go backwards and forwards all the time, constantly. But for me, it's very much finding a way to live my life to the best of my ability with what I have. Acknowledging that, validating that, finding validation for that from others as well, through acknowledgement, and continuing. And to also know that at any particular moment in time, at any time in the future, I could find myself back again, 20 steps back, and then be doing it again. Because life is continually changing and evolving, and other things are coming into your life and going out of your life, and we might experience other losses in our life, which then add on to the symptoms of grief that we are already experiencing. And that's one thing that does scare me, I would say. But it's something that's possibly inevitable. You know, the longer a person lives, the more they're going to experience losses around them, and that's just a part of life. So yeah, it's being aware and that these things may happen also. Grief, not easy, absolutely not. But for me, it was very much acknowledging it, and acknowledging the symptoms of grief and embracing them and owning them. And once I owned them and embraced them and taught myself around the subject as much as I possibly could, made it a little bit more bearable and easier for me to function and move forward and live my life to the best of my ability. And I hope you can find that too. Absolutely do. Thank you for listening to this video. I hope you found the content of it helpful. Please do share, please do like, subscribe, comment. I look forward to your comments. Thank you to those of you who have subscribed. It means so much to me. Thank you so much for that. But we need many, many more in order to create this community, as I'm hoping to do. So thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Until then, look after your hearts and souls. Thank you.